Razor bumps only affect men. You have to avoid shaving to avoid razor bumps. Razor bumps are made worse if you use a multi-blade razor. Razor bumps only happen for those who shave. Shaving against the grain makes razor bumps worse. Wrong, 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 wrong. Hi guys, for anyone new, hello, I'm Dr. Alexis. I'm a board certified dermatologist, and in this video, we're not only going to tell you why these myths about razor bumps are incorrect, but I'm going to give you some practical and actually give you some product recommendations on how you can treat and prevent razor bumps, or the medical term, which is Pseudofolliculitis BARBAE, or more commonly known as ingrown hairs. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So what is a pseudofolliculitis, or ingrown hairs, or razor bumps? It is a chronic inflammatory skin condition, and yes, it does frequently follow shaving, waxing, tweezing, plucking, threading, sugaring, but my friends, it can also happen if you have not shaved at all. It usually starts in the teen years and it can last an entire lifetime. Those with tightly coiled, coarse hair and those with skin of color are more commonly affected. And yes, it does affect more men than women, but guess what? Women get it too. So a pseudofolliculitis, or ingrown hairs, razor bumps, actually happen when the curly hair curves back into the skin. Now, this sends a signal to your skin that, hey, wait a minute, there's a foreign invader trying to come into our skin. Let's mount a response to it. So that's why the inflammation comes, and you can get things like post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation or dark marks. You can even get scars and keloids because your body has gone into attack mode to get rid of that curly hair that's now invaded back into the skin. Now, what you're going to visually see when this inflammatory response begins are painful, firm papules that can show up even as pustules or bumps on the skin. They may be painful, they may be itchy, they may be irritated, they may even have a little red or purple around it, which will eventually turn into hyperpigmentation. So the pathway for someone who has more ethnic curly type hair has a lot more curves and bends than someone who has straight hair. That's more of a straight pathway. Now, the more patterns and bends and curls in that hair pattern, the higher propensity for that hair to curl back around and either penetrate the skin, causing an ingrown hair, or actually pierce through the neighboring skin, causing a different type of ingrown hair. So there's two types of mechanisms that cause ingrown hairs. There's the transepidermal, and that's the most common form of ingrown hairs, where your hair will actually come out and penetrate in. It's actually also known as re-entry penetration. Or there is the transfollicular type of ingrown hair, where the hair actually never quite makes it out through. It decides that it's not going to penetrate through the skin. It's actually going to just curve right back around. So this is where you get those really painful, red, purple, pigmented bumps under the skin. Prolonged periods of shaving are the most common reason for that transepidermal, or that re-entry type of pseudofolliculitis. The hair hasn't been shaved in a while, so it's pretty long, and then when you go and you shave it with that blade, it becomes very sharp, can penetrate back into the skin, and all of a sudden it's now growing in an area where there's not actually a hair follicle. Your body goes into straight attack mode and says, wait, we're not supposed to have hair growing in this random area of the skin. Let's get rid of it. And then for the transfollicular type of pseudofolliculitis, or ingrown hair, this is going to be most commonly when you're actually stretching the skin when you're trying to shave, because the hair will recoil back into that hair follicle, or again, that hair follicle actually never made it to see the sunlight, and it actually just curved right back in and decided to go through and penetrate its neighboring follicle or its neighboring skin, but all underneath the surface. So what you want to do is be strategic about the way that you treat the two different types of ingrown hairs. Now, you remember that I told you genetics plays a very large role. My friends, you can get either type of ingrown hair from genetic predisposition. So don't worry, you can still treat them the exact same way. So the areas that are most prone to getting pseudofolliculitis barbae or ingrown hairs or razor bumps are going to be the areas that have the thickest, most coarse hair. So that could be along the jawline, that could be underneath the chin, that could be in the bikini area, underneath the armpits or the legs. Basically, anywhere that has a lot of thick, coarse hair can develop ingrown hairs. You may be wondering, how do I know if I have pseudofolliculitis or ingrown hairs? If you have tender, painful bumps that leave you with hyperpigmentation in one of these high traffic areas of hair follicles, you probably have ingrown hairs, especially if they get irritated after one of the hair removing practices that we talked about. Now, if enough bacteria gets into this follicle and causes a big enough inflammatory response, you may actually develop true folliculitis, which is very different from pseudofolliculitis. And my friend, you need to see your dermatologist because you most likely are going to need some type of antibiotics to calm down that type of infection. All right, enough with the problem. Let's talk solutions. So the first thing you want to do is try and determine whether or not your ingrown hairs truly follow your shaving practices or if it's genetic. Now, if it follows your shaving practices, there are a couple of things that you could do. You want to warm the skin prior to shaving with a nice washcloth just to kind of get the skin nice and soft and allow more water to come into the hair. This is actually one case where we want to welcome high growth fatigue, which is where we actually flood the hair with water because it's going to expand, swell with the water so they're standing more upright or as upright as they're going to be and have a much better chance of not curling back in when we do our shave. This is a good time to try and dislodge any of the ingrown hairs. I really like using a 30 gauge needle, but you can't do that, my friends. So there is this really amazing ingrown hair tool that I will make sure to link down below. You actually just want to take one side of it and go underneath the hair and gently lodge it up. Now, if it doesn't lodge, I want you to take a very firm brush, move it in a circular motion and see if it will lodge after that. This usually works really well if you have allowed the hair to swell with the water first. Please make sure that you actually always clean the instrument with a nice antiseptic before getting in there as well, because we don't want to introduce any new bacteria to the area. Now we're going to go in with a shave. One of my favorite pre-shave gels is actually from Clinique, and it says Clinique for men, but my friends, it does not have to only be used for men. You could use this shave gel as well. I like it because it has aloe and it's very soothing and it actually allows you to see what you're doing. It's also a good idea to not shave the skin too close. You definitely don't want to pull tight because remember, that can cause recoiling of the hair. And if you can, use a clipper to prevent shaving too close. We've always been taught that it's best to shave with the grain or in the direction of hair growth, but a study out of Wake Forest actually showed that patients who shave against the grain have less bumps and less irritation on the skin. So my advice to you is to do what works best for you. Whether that is shaving with or against the grain, you have to do it yourself to see what is the best for your skin. So in my clinical and personal experience, I have found that the very best treatment protocol for ingrown hairs follows a every third day regimen. So what I mean by this is I actually want you to change up what you're doing every third night. So we're going to follow a treatment, exfoliation, and repair mode. So every third night, you're either focusing on treating, exfoliating, or repairing the skin. So what this would look like on a treatment day is using your benzoyl peroxide wash. I really love the one from CeraVe. It's 4%. It's got ceramides. It's nice and gentle. Go ahead and then follow that with a salicylic acid. I love the one from CeraVe, again, for the same reasons. It's good at treating. It can get in there and do its job, but it's still soothing and non-irritating. There is an amazing moisturizer by a Black-owned company. I love this one because it's rich in linoleic acid. If you guys saw my vitamin F video, you know that it's really important to use moisturizers rich in vitamin F if you do indeed have hyperpigmentation. So On a treatment day, we're doing benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, followed by a moisturizer, and sunscreen for the morning time. The nighttime of this same day, you're going to use a gentle cleanser and treat with a retinoid, whether that is adapalene from La Roche-Posay, adapalene from Differin, adapalene from Proactive. I don't care, my friends. I just need you to have a good retinoid on board. Adapalene is the best over-the-counter version of this, but if you can get a prescription from your doctor, even better. All right, treatment day done. I now want you to move to the next day where you're going to just focus on doing the same morning regimen, but at nighttime, let's exfoliate. I highly recommend the Urban Skin RX Retinol Exfoliation Pads. These are so amazing, especially in any area that is hair bearing. So again, following the same morning regimen, but nighttime, we're focusing on exfoliation. So day number 3 is all about nourishing and repairing our skin barrier. We're gonna keep it super simple. The morning routine will stay the same, but at night, I just want you to use a nice, gentle moisturizer. I will make sure to link some great ones down below. This is also a really great time to focus on spot treatment if needed. I love this one by Urban Skin RX because not only does it have benzoyl peroxide at a good percentage, but it also has the glycolic acid and the arnica, which will help prevent hyperpigmentation. If you have a sensitivity to spot treatment with benzoyl peroxide, the Vichy one with sulfur is another great option. The most definitive way to treat ingrown hairs or pseudofolliculitis is with laser hair removal. You guys know, for anyone with skin of color, I highly recommend the Indie Yag 1064. It is amazing. So how does laser hair removal work? Well, when you deliver the laser energy onto the skin, the dark pigment or the melanin that's in the hair will absorb the light from the laser, heating up not only the hair but also the matrix cells, which form the shaft of the growing hair. This destroys them, causing the hair to fall out, but also decreasing the ability for any new hair to grow. Now, if you couple with a laser hair removal with VANIQA, oh my God, the results are amazing. VANIQA is a prescription hair removal. You don't have to use it with laser, but the results come even faster. Now, laser hair removal is going to be more of a permanent solution, right? Because we're actually getting rid of the root cause, which is the hair follicle. There is a study done by Dr. Kindred who shows chemical depilatories like Nair or Veet can definitely help with improving the razor bumps or the ingrown hairs. All right, now if things are starting to get really crazy, there's a lot of inflammation there, there's a lot of pain, you can certainly use a topical hydrocortisone 1% over the counter, which is an anti-inflammatory, to try and calm everything down. But again, if it's to this degree, you may want to go ahead and see your dermatologist to make sure that this hasn't developed into a true folliculitis. This video was highly requested by you guys. You know that I only do the videos you asked for, so please let me know in the comment section what you want to see next. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I would absolutely love to have you join the family, and until next time, be well.